your lucky day to be baptized in the Greek Orthodox Church.
Hi, I'm Mia Vardalis, and you're listening to WICR. Want to hear it in my radio voice? Hi, I'm Mia Vardalis, and you're listening to
Hey guys, and welcome back to The Unknown Show. I'm Boston.
And I'm Bayside.
And we have a show every Monday at 2, so make sure you tune in every week. And the last 3 songs you heard were You're Not Good Enough by Blood Orange, Nina Cried Power by Hozier and Mavis Staples, and Love and War in Your 20s by Jordy Searcy. But speaking of Hozier, we got some new content.
We do. It's so exciting. After, I believe, 5 years, Hozier has released an EP with more music coming in the future. So that's been very exciting. He is also touring currently with his new material, as well as probably some future material and old material. But it's just exciting to have him back in the music stream with new stuff. You've listened to the EP?
I have
too. And my initial reaction, I love Shrike. I think it's beautiful, and it's very reminiscent of his old
I think it's my favorite song on the EP.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. And then NFWMB also really reminds me of It Will Come Back. I don't know if you got that same vibe, but
yeah, the kind of deeper,
almost like country in like a old Western way. But I love it because it's the same Hozier, but it's just like more. And some people could argue that like he's not trying to try, like he should branch out more, but I think like he knows what he does best, and he's going with that.
Yeah, I think Hozier's thing is he's already so different than every other artist. Mm-hmm. He stands out on his own, so he doesn't really need to stand out from his past work. I mean, it's kind of like obviously not to compare artists, but like say you're referencing like the 1975. Mm-hmm. They're unique, but there's also a lot of alternative bands that sound similar or have imitated their sound, so they're kind of forced to try something new every album.
Exactly, which is something we're also experiencing now.
Exactly.
With the release of singles off of their new album. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I haven't really listened to Moment's Silence much, but Nina Cried Power I like.
Yeah,
as well.
The music video for that I found very, very interesting. It was just kind of people reacting to the song with images of resistance in the background, which I thought was really powerful.
Definitely, because I mean, Hozier was very involved with Ireland's push to get pro-life, pro-choice, that whole debate that's been going on there recently. He was very active about it, so I think that like that song kind of shows that he does like care about things that are going on in the world.
Yeah, right, I almost feel like this EP is kind of him not showing off, but kind of shoving it in people's faces a little bit, because everyone was like, oh, he's not going to make another album that was good as his last one. It's been 2 years. He's not going to put anything else out. And then he comes back almost like James Bay, and he's like, no, look, I can do it again.
Yeah.
Like,
no, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like he's just one of those strong vocalists that people forget about sometimes, and they definitely shouldn't.
No, 100%. And speaking of the 1975, what are your thoughts on their new music that's been coming out?
I got to admit, I haven't listened to it.
None of it?
I've listened to Two Time.
Okay.
And I really like that song.
Love Two Time.
But I haven't listened to any of the other stuff because I'm just kind of afraid to. Mm-hmm. Because every time the 1975 comes out with a new album or a new single, I never like it at first. I really have to like wait and process and listen to it over and over again. Like Two Time, I couldn't stand it first.
Oh, really?
First time I listened to it, I was like, this is annoying.
That's how I felt about Give Yourself a Try, which was the first song to come out. I listened to it and I'm like, this is Love Me all over again, where I just was not.
I hated Love Me.
But now I love Me. And I also, I don't mind Give Yourself a Try. I definitely don't listen to it as much as Two Time. I love It If We Made It. And then the fourth one that's been released is Sincerity is Scary. That's the most recent one that's been released. And I'm really into the three. Give yourself a try. I'm not really giving it a try, but the other three I find pretty strong. But again, it's that they always try something slightly off of what you were expecting, and it does throw you for a loop for a minute.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to give it a chance. I'll have to look into it. But I remember, was it 2 years ago now that their last album came out? And
it was freshman spring, like winter.
And I believe we were standing in my dorm, and
I can picture it.
and they had released like a 30-second clip of Love Me, I think. And it was on some radio show, and we were listening to it, and the both of us just looked at each other, and we are like, this is really bad.
Yeah.
Like, they're never going to make music again.
That's 100%, because it was that whole sophomore album, like, can they do it again thing?
Yeah. And everyone hated it. And then it turns into almost, I would say, better than the 1975's first album. Just because the first album, it was kind of like every song's the same. And then they come out with this next album, and it's like, fooled you, every song's different. So it's weird how songs age like that. Like something can grow on you that you thought you hated at first, and then you have other songs where you're like, oh, I love this song, and then later on you're like, I can never listen to that again. Like, What You Say, just for example, like that song, I lived for it in middle school. And now, like, just listening to it gives me, like, horrible chills all over my body.
Just cringing everywhere.
I can't handle it.
Yeah. No, it is very interesting. I mean, just like the progression of an album, for example, Reputation, when I first listened to it, the songs I liked and disliked almost have flipped in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, as an album ages, things you feel differently about the meaning of a song, for example. It's very interesting. But
it's funny you bring up Taylor Swift, because I was just having a conversation with someone the other day about how they got into like a month-long fight with one of their siblings over what Taylor Swift album was the best.
Oh.
And someone had the audacity to argue that 1989 was better than Red.
Oh. No. Sorry.
So I think we just need to put that to bed. Red is the best Taylor Swift album.
It's
Sorry
fall
for
now.
anyone.
That is Red's season.
Yeah.
Red thrives in the fall.
Literally.
1989 maybe in January, like when you're...
Yeah, maybe like the cold weather months where you're like kind of like in cuffing season, you know, you're missing like a relationship, you want to be with someone. That's like 1989. Red is like, no, I'm good. Like,
I'm good. I'm gonna
living
walk
my
with
best
some
life.
leaves. Yeah. But I was just listening. I was talking to someone about Taylor Swift the other day, and we were talking about Red, and I was talking about how it's just so good in the fall, and I've been listening to it recently. But yeah, you know what? Some Taylor Swift albums, they don't age. They stay exactly the way you want them to be. We were also talking about how All Too Well apparently is like argued to be one of the best songs of the 21st century, lyrically.
Definitely. It's a beautiful song.
Beautiful.
And I always thought it was criminal that she never released it as a single.
I know.
And the fact that as a fan base, her fans were able to say, no, we want this one. That speaks to how much people loved it, I think.
I agree. And
there's definitely been a lot of songs like that. I think every band has a title track or something that they expect to kind of make more of an impact, like she did with Red. And then there's people who come out and say, no, actually, this one's way better, or we prefer this one. So I think it just really depends on the audience you're not catering to, but presenting your work to.
Exactly. And that's definitely with Taylor Swift changed over the years. And it shows in her music, yet her music still ends up being successful just because of like how talented she is as a lyricist and, you know, even a marketing person of how I'm portraying this album and why I'm making this album.
Yeah, you can even see it with her transition from country to pop.
No, definitely. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of Hozier and the 1975 in the next year. Hopefully it'll be on all of my autumn playlists that are made because they're just great artists.
Right, and without further ado, we're going to dive right back into the music, and we'll be back. I don't even